GMC Military College Policy File as of May 12th, 2023. Any violation of these policies immediately report with the director of the dean student of the child with the violation occurred with the director of the dean student with immediately forward instant information president with the GMC with the institutional dean student with the chief of the staff, the chief policy with the GMC with the definitions. Weapon means include pistol, revolver, instrumental design, intent with a propelled missile, and came with the director with a Bowie knife, the switchblade with a ballistic knife or other knife having a blade of 2 or more inches straight edge, razor blade, spring stick, spun knuckles were made in metal, thermoplastic, wood, or other similar material, blackjack, any bat, club, or bludgeon type of weapon with the flying instruments consisting of 2 more rigid parts connected with a sensor man with a loud swinging with a frilly with a known as a nunchucku, shuriken, or fighting chain, any discs, whatever the configuration, have at least 2 point with a pointed blade with a design with a be thrown with a propelled, which may be done with a throwing stroke with a oriental dart or any instrument like kind with any stun gun taser that defined in subsection A, Georgia Code section 1611 and 106 with a paragraph excludes any with the instrument with from use from classwork authorized with a facility member. Handgun means a firearm or with any description loaded, unloaded, for which aim with a shot with a bullet or other missile discharged by action with explosive linked with a barrel and including any revolver with a detachable magazine braces not exceed 12 inches provided. However, the term handgun should not include with a gun discharged with a single shot of .46 centimeters or at least less diameter. Electroshock weapon with a stun gun taser with a similar commercial with a available device by electrical charging unit. This gun exclusively to incapacitate a person by electric charge. Concealed means carried in such a fashion that it does not actively solicit with the attention of the others and with not permanently openly intentionally display except for the purpose of the defense of itself. The others, the types of the terms include, but not limited to the carrying one person's, where all such handgun is substantial but not necessarily completely covered in an article of clothing which is worn by such a person carrying within a bag of a nondescript nature, which may be carried by such a person carrying other fashions as not to be with clearly discernible by passive observation to others. Preschool or child care space means in rooms that continue with the collection of the rooms enclosed or facilities which are separate with the other room space with electronic mechanism, human staff point with the controlled access designated with the provision of preschool child care services included but not limited to preschool child care services license regulated under Article 1, Chapter 1, Title 20 of the title of the Georgia Code. Policies are based on the use of the university system of the Georgia institutions where using this permission. View date, May 12, 2023. John Seeley, Associate Vice President, Student Services, Jill Robbins, Chief of Staff. Our college catalog policy and statement of the college catalog is official with the document containing with the college policy regulation description with the degree programs offered by with the college associate vice president and services initiated with the annual institution review academic catalog with the April each year with a draft copy of the catalog email with the appropriate administrator off with all of the revision up to date with the mid-July with the office of the academic affairs complies all input edited with the GMC catalog GM keys catalog updated with the GMC website with the honor before with the August 1st. And made publicly once with a poster with the Associate Vice President of the Student Services emails with the Administrator Ross with the annual catalog now available at the GMC website, off of the academic research, responsible for the housing and all the versions of the GMC catalog, ensuring available to formal returning student with the institutional staff of the general public upon request. At least 5 years for the GMC catalog available to the public at the GMC website. Since policy regulation charge of the student will be held with the policy listed in the catalog at the time of the first regulation, unless the student has had a break in enrollment no longer than 12 months. Each situation students will held under the policy with the catalog in effect at the time of readmission. January 25th, 2023, John Shealy, Associate Vice President, Student Services, Accommodation, Disability, General Possible Policy Statement. GMC comply with the American Disability Act of 1990 and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act 1973 prohibited discrimination against a qualified person with a disability, as well as the federal state laws of the protecting individual with disability general. Remember the American Disability Act amendment of of the person with a disability has or she physical and mental impairment is substantially limited to major life activity. Americans with a Disability Act, individuals record with a substantial limited impairment regarding whether disabled the institution whether qualify or not. Substantial impairment with the one that's significantly or limits or restricted with a major life activities, but not limited to hearing, seeing, with speaking, with the breathing, performing manual tasks, walking, caring for oneself, with the other notable function with a restricted with the individual from performing life tasks. Responsibility Disability Coordinator, GM College of the Preparatory School, operates separately with the GSC College Manager of the Disability with the ADA 504. Responsibility with the court efforts of the college on behalf of the students to comply with the disability laws, include the investigation compliant with the alleged non-compliant with the college ADA Coordinator. Also supports GMC Vice President of the Human Resources with the matters involved with the GMC employee. GMC Preparatory School, ADA 504 Coordinator provides support premature at school. Individuals with physical mental disability prohibiting successful performance completion with essential job functions should initiate interactive processing and following with the accommodations with the ADA appointment with a contact within the area with determining whether the individual has disability. GMC will not consider the medication as assistive device such as a wheelchair, eyeglass with hearing aids if the individual may even accommodate with a disability. The disability normally something that limited to major life activity will be taken in consideration time of the request. GMC handles all the requests with good faith for the individual making the request. All parties must communicate with directly with each other with determine essential information of the employee with the ADA point of contact delay with the interfere with the process. Any documentation required for the physician should come from the doctor or medicine and an individual duly licensed physician, surgeon, the nurse practitioner, or osteopathic physician who treats and supervises serious health conditions. GMC is not required to lower the quality production standards or to provide personal use items created with a new position display for the other employee with a reasonable accommodation as appropriate with the measure, provided the accommodations that do not cause undue hardship or cost available to do with the resources effective with the impact of the accommodation operating with the GMC. To institute all of the individual with a disability to perform essential function with the job, the reasonable accommodation include but modify with a work schedule, restructuring jobs, buying, modifying equipment, and reasonable accommodation. Each application accommodation reviewed by case-to-case basis. Student with disability. Georgia Military College is committed to the full with the total inclusion of the individual providing equal opportunity to participate within with the benefit of all programs served with the activity. Georgia Military is a supportive of the individual rights responsibly outlined with the GMC academic catalog. All accommodations made with a case-by-case basis for the student requesting accommodation must follow the procedure for the established outline, but each of the organization for college. Students must self-identify with the disclosure of the disability, participating in interactive intake with the process of the condition of providing requested documentation. Review of all the information provided with the student will be completed with the manager, student, and disability server to determine whether reasonable accommodation from the faculty member feel with the accommodation fundamental eligible with the academic standards for the in-course of the discussion will be required with the manager, student, disability server with the determination resolution. Note the policy of the GMC 4016 students with disability, employees with a disability, pursuant with the ADA, Georgia Military College to provide reasonable accommodation to the qualified employee with a known disability or with a disability after with the performance, central job functions, instead of doing so with the unduly disruptive of the would result with an undue with a hardship to the employee with a disability should request accommodation in writing with the ADA coordinator, subsequently should provide with appropriate documentation. Once the paperwork is received, the formal accommodation request has been made with the ADA review committee will review the request, work with the employer, supervise, identify central function of the position effective with the employee with a disability over the reasonable accommodation can enable the employee to perform the duties. Note with the policy with the GMC 58-5006 accommodation employee with disabilities. June 9, 2020, Joe Robbins, Senior Vice President, Chief of Human Resources, Title IX, and Coordinator. 1021, discriminatory harassment policy statement. The student, staff, with the administrative, the faculty, the intel, with the work environment, the educational, environmental, free with the discriminatory harassment, condemns and will not tolerate discriminating harassment against with employees, due with the vision of the guests, some of the base for the task, with the protective of the college policy, with the law in general. Georgia military harassment policy is not meant to be inhibited, prohibited educational content with the discussion with the inside, outside of the classroom, include with the germane by controversial, to with the subject matter of the section below that discover the specific forms legally prohibited harassment are also prohibited at Georgia Military College. Discriminatory discriminatory and bias related harassment. Harassment continues to do with a form of discrimination prohibited in law with the Georgia Military Harassment Policy, explicitly prohibited any form of harassment with the base of the actual perceived with the membership of the protected class by any member of the group of the community with the creative of the hostile environment or both subjectively and subjectively hostile environment may be created by the oral, written, geographical, physical contact with the conduct with the physician, severe, persistent, persuasive, interfering, limited, denied with the ability of the individual to participate in the benefit of the educational program, activities, employment, access, benefit of the opportunities, more offensive of the conduct with the harassment, generic nature of the not based for the protected staff, but not a result of the imposition discipline with the Georgia Military Policy with the dress with the group with the core in front, confrontation conducted with civil demand, remedial action, education, effective utilization, conflict resolution mechanism. Sexual harassment definition both of the equal opportunity core mission with the state of the Georgia regard for the sexual harassment as a form of sex gender of the discrimination, therefore unlawful discriminatory practice of the Georgia Military Guard has adopted an amended of the version of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission definition of sexual harassment in order to ensure the special environment of the academic community, which consists not only with employers but of the students as well. Sexual harassment is unwelcome and sexual general based verbal, written, physical conduct sufficiently severe for the persistent persuasive effect of the unreasonable with the interfering with the denial of limiting employment and opportunity with the ability to participate in or benefit with the college education, social, residential program based on the power of differential quid pro quo, creation of hostile environment, retaliation, sexual misconduct. Georgia Military College have the define of the category sexual misconduct stated below with the action of the policy imposed with the general speaking of the Georgia Military College consider the non-consensual sexual intercourse with the violation most serious, therefore typically may impose the most severe sanction, including suspension and expulsion from the student with the termination of the employees of the Georgia Military College reserve the right to impose the level of sanction up to include with the suspension, expulsion, or termination of any of the sexual misconduct leading of the general base offenses based on the facts of the circumstance of the particular complaint. Sexual misconduct violation. Sexual misconduct may be committed with any person or the other person regardless of the sex and sexual orientation, gender identified with involved with the violation include sexual harassment already defined, non-consensual sex intercourse defined as any sexual penetration, intercourse, however slight, without with any object with a person upon any other person without consent by force, non-consensual sex contact defined with consensual sexual touching, however slightly with any of the object by a person or any other person is without consent use by force. Sexual exploitation. Sexual exploitation refers to situations in which a person takes non-consensual or abusive sexual advantage of another. June 9, 2022, Jill Robbins, Senior Vice President of the Chief Human Resources, article Title 9 Coordinator. Alright, 1022 Retaliation Policy Statement of the Georgia Military Policy with a retaliation individual alleging harassment, supporting, complaining with, assisting with, providing information relative to the claim of harassment, true with the possible incident of harassment and discrimination, acts alleged retaliation with reported immediately with the Title 9 coordinated with the student with the employee with a home class will be promptly investigated. Georgia Military College will protect individuals who fear that may be the subject of the retaliation workplace expressed with a variety of ways include but are not limited to victimization, termination, illegal retraction, benefit of reduction, compensation for work performance evaluation, exclusion of the corporate events of the meeting, the defamation of the character of any person found with a habit engaged with the retaliation violation policy, subject to the discrimination, include with the determination, confidentiality, in order to for the prevention of the retaliation policy for the Georgia Military College keeps all of the reports, evidence, complaint with the name of the complainant, so with the respondent to all of the information regarding the situation and investigation confidentiality. Only individuals directly involved with the incident of the investigation except the information will not be allowed to share with the information with the other individual while maintained with the confidential and punishable per policy of disciplinary action up to and including by determination retaliation defined as any of the adverse or punitive action taken against a person participating in protected activity. June 9, 2022, Jill Robbins, Senior Vice President, Chief Human Resource Officer. 1023, remedial action, update a notice of the harassment, retaliation, discrimination policy in Georgia Military College policy with immediate remedial action taken up with the alleged harassment, with the retaliation, discrimination, for the more proper disciplinary action with the framework of the properly provided with the due property to any of the members of the community where the student employed with the guest of the visitor of the found with engaged with harassing, discriminatory behavior, retaliation, proceeding under policy with carried out with the prior to the simultaneously with the following any formal or informal complaint resolution prior to the conjunction with the Title IX complaint. College employees identify the witness with the required with a fully cooperative with the investigation member of the college community with the willful with the describe with the delay with the thoughts with the investigation make false statement during with the investigation found with a violation policy subject to disciplinary action provided that with the provision does not require the person accused of the policy to make statement that respond to the allegation against her or him during investigation accused for the truth and not to provide statement that will respond to the allegation silence for the will be considered the general denial of the allegation of the investigation will ultimately proceed with the result of the policy violation evidence collected with the provided violation preponderance of the evidence procedure remedy the action with the notice of the harassment of the retaliation discrimination consider the interim protective measures followed by the designated route with the informal formal resolution private identified with the complaint deliberate false and malicious acquisition harassment opposed with the complaints that are of the main good faith for the just serious offense for the harassment will be subject to the appropriate investigation of disciplinary action. June 9, 2022, Joe Robbins, Senior Vice President, Chairman, Chief Human Resource Officer. 2024, serve with the animal policy, Georgia military colony with the equal access program, serve with the activity campus of the facility compliant with the federal, state, local GMC with the permits, reasonable use of the animals assisting individuals with a disability. Her definition, service animal with the pursuit of the American Disability Act of 1990 with a service animal with a dog with an individual with a training with a duty with a work performing a task benefit for the individual with a disability including with a physical sensory with a psychiatric and intellectual with a mental disability. Other species of animal that was wild with a domestic with a trained with an untrained with a non-service with the animal with a purpose. Purpose of the definition word task performing the service of the animal must be directly related with the individual with a disability examined with the work of the task including not assisting with an individual with blind, having low vision with the navigation over the task, with the altering with an individual with a deaf with the heard over the hearing with the presence of the people or sound with the providing non-violent protection, rescue, work while in wheelchair, assisting with an individual during a seizure with the alternating individual present with the allergens, retrieving the items with the message with the telephone with the providing physical support, assistance, balance, and stability with the individual with mobility disability with helping person with psychiatric, neurological disability, preventing with the interrupting impulse with destructive behavior, crime deterrence, effect with the animal presence with the provision of the emotional support, well-being, comfort with the companionship with the that constitute with the work of the task proposed with the definition, and with the individual with disability defined within the federal state law who has to shift with the animal to perform the work of task related with the individual with disability, person a trainer with the person identified with the agent with the employee with the tool with the seeing eye with the hearing, see with the guy with the dogs pursuing with the OCGA 3042, emotional support animal. Emotional support animal is an animal with any species with a support with a qualified physician, psychiatric side with a mental professional with a base and with a disability related. The emotional support animal does not have to be trained to perform in a particular task. Employment support animal does not qualify to serve as an animal under the American Disability Act. They may be permitted reasonable accommodation person disability under the Fair Housing Act. Pet any kept under ordinary companionship that does not meet the definition of service as emotional support animal. Service general service animal access. Service animals must be allowed with the company handled within all areas of the GMC with the subject with the restriction outlined below with the platoon with federal law employee with not ask for the person disability required with the medical documentation required with a special with identification training with a document with the animal ask animal to demonstrate with the ability to perform a task. Employees may ask two questions. One, if the service animal is in accordance with the policy. Two, with the work with the task animal has trained to perform. The student with the main register with the service animal with the student disability service with the document with the service animal has been trained with the performance specific tax, but not required to do so. Service dogs in training area. Pursuant with the Georgia law and an agent with an employee with the school, seeing eye, hearing service with a guide dog with may not be, must be permitted with the access of the public facility with the trainer should contact with the campus executive with the director if they will be on the campus. The director shall with all their facility with the register with the service animal registration annual with any time with the trainer with the change with the animals with the training with the handlers must document with the credentials and with the trained dogs with the service animal campus executive with the directors of staff shall maintain with appropriate records of the registered service animal training. Emotional support animal activity. Emotional support animal access is not permitted with a company with a person with a disability with a public access with a GMC. Access is not allowed with a GMC allowed in GMC facility. Restrictions GMC prohibited to otherwise restrict the trip of the animal into the GMC facility due to the health and safety concern with the restricted area of included but not limited to the food preparation and with the mechanical room of the custodial closets. Areas for school animal service the animal training with the danger with the constitute with the danger of the others area with the presence of the service of the animal and service of the animal in training may cause fundamental alteration GMC policy activities. Responsibility handlers in training the service of the animal service of the animal the training with the must be under the directive of the physician control of the animal the training the all time handler training the harness lease and others. Together with the first service of the animal, with the harness he leaves, with the tether would interfere with the service of the animal's effect with the performance of the task, service of the animal should be with the hand with the control. Some other effective means service of the animals of the service of the animal training must comply with the state and local law regarding health and vaccination care. Health trainers and liable to all the damage direct caused by the service of the animal training. Owners will be asked to remove any animal with the animal is out of control. If the animal is not housebroken. May 17, 2077. That's mistypo. So John Shuckley, Dean of Students. 1025 retirement policies. Policy with the payment of bonus commission within some of the individual recruitment of the student with awarding financial aid particularly forbidden. GMC employees charged with the responsible counseling student admission with the advice of the financial aid, the download of the receipt of the financial incentive with the enrollee with the training with the student with enrollment in addition with a no contract arrangement and it with a restructured way to monetize incentives. The enrollment of the student additional GMC personnel with a refrain from making more than 3 attempts to contact with the student with an non-expressive interest of attending GMC. May 17, 2022. Website privacy policy. Georgia Military College is committed with a responsibility to the personal information, some of the information collected from and about with the student, with the faculty, staff, with the business partner, with the other provided with the such with the information, called the commitment according to the policy and the federal regulation concerning with the use of the sensitive information, such sensitive information includes information caused with the cause of the financial harm of the reputational harm to an individual. Policy appears with the personally identifiable sensitive information, however, this collection use of the information. GMC may collect with the concern information automatically generated with the user device visitor a site with we may collect with the aggregate with the information used for the site with it included downloaded to the page of the most frequently visited with how many visitors receive the daily, how long will the visitors stay on each of the page of the visitor may be prompted required to provide certain personal information or order to access various features of the information on the strip. Such information include with many other things with the name and address, the email address, and phone number. If the visitor does not want to provide such information, should may close the non-access of the feature of the site with the personal information provided with the site with the projected in accordance with the provision of the policy. Information submitted via the website will be only based on the appropriate state of the submission. GMC will not share the information with third parties as required by law. Initiative to protect the institutional interest of the call of the investigation necessary further to restrict research efforts pursuing the approval of the appropriate data stewards of the institutional review board when which contract is provided with acting on the behalf of the college to agree with the protect with the confidential treatment of data. Links to the college website with the direct with the other website with the non-control of the GMC with the not responsible for the privacy policy action with the web content with the server of the project with the non-GMC sites which we link. Cookies are filed with many of the websites for the transfer of the user's web browsers and able to deliver with a personal server that provides persistent authentication information contained. Cookie typically includes information collected automatically with the web server and or other information provided voluntarily by the user or website. Persistent cookies in conjunction third-party technology part to analyze search engine usage, web traffic patterns, the information used with the algorithm with the monitor with the enhance our web page and is not limited to track the usage patterns of the individual user. The European Union General Data Protection Regulation, Privacy Notice, GMC Institute for the Higher Education involved with the education research community engagement. In order for GMC to educate students of both of the class online, engage in world-class research and provide community services, it is essential to collect data. GMC has lawful basis to collect, process, and maintain data of the student with the employee with the applicant, research subject with the others involved with the educational research of the community program. Lawful the base include without limitation mission with the registration delivery with the classroom online Study abroad, education, grade with the communication, employment, applied research, development, the program improvement, of the record retention, examples of the data GMC may need to collect an action of the law base for the name and the email address, IP address, physical address, with any other location identifier, photos, as well as some sensitive the personal data obtained with the prior consent with the process. Of the majority of the GMC collection process with the personal data will fall into the following category: processing necessary purpose of the legitimate interest of the pursuit of the GMC with a third party providing education, employment, research, the development of community programs. Two, for the processing necessary performance for the contract with which of the data subject of the party with the in order to take with the step of the request of the data of the subject prior to the entering into a contract with a lawful base for the pertinent to the primarily with a non-exclusive the research contract with the process with the necessary with the complying with the legal obligations to which GMC is subject with the data subject with the given consent with the process with his or her with the personal data with the one or more specific purposes. There will be some instance of the where the collection process with the personal data will be pursuing our other law bases May 17, 2022. Policy 2001. Social media. Office for the GMC. Use policy statement on social media with the general term you with the create of the website application allowed with you with the create with the share with the contact with you with examples of social media include Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, with YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, blogs, podcasts. GMC continue with the bill with the maintain strong presence of the social media ongoing after the engage with the perspective of the current students to interact with the policy, interact with the public, communicate internally with external, with promote lasting relationship with the alumni, with a friend, with the important, with the ensure with all of the contact with the public is accurate, with consistent with the GM policy and branding. Moreover, the policy of 2007 to provide with the employee with the other authorized to perform duties with the college must be ensured that the college information technology result include the device and system of the not be misused. General, GMC supports academic freedom and free speech for the head of the institution, have the duty to ensure the accuracy with the content with the consistent with the GMC brand, give the duty of the Department of Communication, routine with the manager of the official with the GMC social media with the assist the after for all the social media account created for the official of the GMC with a must approve of the register of the Department of Communication, member of the communication with the team with the beacon with the ministry with the privileges provided along recommended credentials of the communication adopt with the procedure with the creative with the maintain social media with the president of the official GMC use personal and social media accounts with only are not governed by the policy. However, the staff of the faculty should not make statements of the social media by law, GMC policy regulation. January 18, 2022. Joe B. Shue, the director of communications. Policy 2002, computer access policy accessing GMC computer research that will be granted current faculty with the staff of the problem with the completion of the required documents with the part of the human resource onboard process. Currently enrolled students will be granted with the GMC with the computing research once if they receive admission institute with the May 17, 2022. Jody Earwood, Vice President Information Technology. 2003, U.S. College vehicles and GMC driving privileges policy statement of the Georgia Military College policy. Faculty, staff members off of the rise GMC vehicle with the office use only the GMC file with the current state of the Georgia office of the fleet with the management guidance extend to the Georgia Fleet Management Manual office of the planning and budget of the memorandum entitled Policy 10 Rules, Regulation, Procedure for the governing of the use of the assignment of the motor vehicles, purchase for the operation and role of the motor vehicle, as issued record keeping. Students of the not authorized for the drive of the GMC vehicle except for the during the faculty supervised with the driver of the education class. GMC vehicles otherwise GMC employee with possession of the valid state with the issue of the driver's license background check with the performed during an initial his or her screening process with the periodically during employment and any trouble that exhibit the pattern with the unsafe with the driving and indicate with the repeated with the citation traffic violations are calling on the reports of the Department of Administrative Services. Driver alert program may lose with the driving privilege of the GMC vehicles. Any driver with more than 10 points for the state of the driving record anytime with the will lose with the GMC vehicle driving privileges. So you suspended the license at 15 points of the state of Georgia, moving the violation points with the detail of the review with the ds.georgia.gov points and points reduction. GMC driving privileges reinstated as soon as the possible. Employee with the state with the driver the recording reduced for the 10 points or less. Additional driver's alert reports for the DOAS for the will effect with the GMC with the driving privileges as well. For the first call, offense for the driver the verbally counsel with the note with the driver the supervisor with the trouble play with the driver the personal fault with the driver the store review for the 2 points for the points with the tracking with the GMC with the non-part with the Georgia Department Service points program. If there are new further moving or often for the reported for the driver within 12 months with 1 point with the deductive with the total with the deduction and with the rate of 1 point every 12 months thereafter as long as the employee carries out the point balance. For a second moving event with the same with the drive of the 2 points will be A with the point with the total of the drive of the accrue with the drive of the points with the balance of the formula noted with the paragraph 1 above with the addition with the point with the cause with the drive of the exceed with 2 point documentation verbal the warning personal file with the will be required along with the warning of the drive of the will be required successfully complete with the shave of the online driver safety course for 30 days verbal warning if there will be not allowed to drive the state vehicle again until such time as the course has been completed. For the third offense of the same drive with the points will be added with the point total of the drive of the crew with the drive of the point balance with the formula paragraph 1 with above with the ass of the points with the cause with the drive of the ass seed 4 points documented written warning with the personal file with the required along with the suspension drive of the privilege of 120 days. This is for the writing warning suspension drive of the privilege of the driver must successfully complete the state online driver safety course of again therefore with allowed with the drive of the state vehicle. For the fourth the call offense of the same drive of the 2 points will the drive of the point total with the drive of the security with the drive of points balance with the formula noted in paragraph 1 above with the adding with the point with the call with the drive of the exceed with 6 point with the drive will permanently report the driving state vehicle with the will issue with the final written warning on the personnel file with the failure to file with the college proceed with the driving essential with the requirement of the job college reserve the right for the termination employment with the bar driver for the combination drive with the tape with the record with the DOAS drive with the alerts indicate with the unsafe with the pattern with the motor vehicle operation GMC require the safety training remove driving privileges under the circumstances made up with 2022 Jeff Gray Vice President Engineering Services. Prohibited use of file sharing programs. Policy statement: the using file share programs, GMC computer with the networks is prohibited. The use of file sharing programs creates significant security risk of the making and use of the hack of the virus peddlers to generate the GMC's security system. As well as using file sharing programs may be illegal when used copy software, music, other copyrighted protected materials. Individual violators may be held accountable with any fine with the charge with the Georgia Military College violation copyright laws. May 17, 2022, Jody Yearwood, Vice President Information Technology. 2005, approval authority maintenance repair information technology hardware. Policy statement: GSMC prohibits with the operator level the performance made with the repair of the GMC computer with the network hardware with the first obtained with the written permission with the GMC with the information technology May 17, 2022, Jody Yearwood, Vice President Information Technology. Policy 2006, use of college facilities and individual organization may release with the facility function and include with the reception, banquets, conference with a meeting with a sports event for the vice president, engineering, propagating with the procedure for the regulation of the implement the power for the GMC, reserve the rights for the denied you with the campus focus for any of the event with the activity and the function of the deems are inappropriate, the fact of the installation of the whole of the office statement of the campus for the instructional facility for the manager for the other own facility with the may lease for the facility with external group for the fee for the vary by site. Campus directors approve the use of their campus facilities. Exemption of the GMC policy must be reviewed by the president of the Georgia Military College. General request external party of the non-GMC sponsor event may submit it with the advice of the president ensuring no more than 6 months, but not less than 90 days prior to the event. For planning coordination, pursuant to the requests made within 90 days before the event may be approved by the president. If approved with external party, for the will recover the sound and liability waiver. All advertising external events unless the identify the facility or use for the property and assigned with the GMC with the name of the facility, the internal request for the official of the GMC event, and the activity may be made at any time with the vice president and engineering will approve the use of facility with such payment of faculty with the use of fee with additional fee with the necessary with the coverage of security means house covering any other cost for the college and with a full payment that must be remitted in the 7 days prior with approval. Prior to the event, college sponsor the events when they are accepted to the facility, even however the departmental budget must be charged over overtime for custodians, technicians, food server, the public safety officer, for the other personnel, GMC reserve the right to deny with the use of campus facility for any event, activity, function with the deemed inappropriate for the faculty with the institution as a whole. GMC faculties until the use of the college scheduled dates for the extended individuals organized with non-GMC related events, activities tentative but not confirmed until the 90 days prior to the event. All requirements associated with approved event include the rental table chairs for the foods for the set with the requirement of technology supporting contracting security. Any other requirements of GMC must be followed by no later than 3 weeks prior to the event. Any request of 3 weeks in event may not be approved. Any violation of GMC policy procedure that may result in cancellation approved event with a deposit will not be refunded. IRS guidelines: GMC faculty staff fees must be discounted up to 20%. Co-sponsored events: a co-sponsored event defined with an event with external with the spam for the directly associated with the official of the GMC sponsor organization group of the direct number of the official of the director of the college of the preparatory school of the event must be directly associated GMC mission and vision. There may be still with the charge of the fee with the associated with the activity present for the involvement of the GMC student with the capital loan with the non-sufficient justified sponsorship. Alcohol, possession, consumption, alcoholic beverage, property to be owned only for the Georgia military, strictly prohibited unless approved of the president of the Georgia Military College. All requests that allow for the possession, consumption, alcoholic beverages must be made for the written director or the staff. Individual requesting of the use of the facilities to approve the alcohol must provide the evidence of proper licensing from the director or staff of the prior to the event. Mid-club, village, Midville, location director or staff of the will notified by the vice president, engineering campus chief of the police, approval to serve the alcohol with the granted with the will was afforded with a copy of the required license. Georgia Military College policy of the local police of the campus location Midville or the Midville required the president and the user expense for the where alcohol is served. Insurance. No Georgia Military College supporters sponsor events will be considered the major events due to the purpose of the program and event format, potential size of the audience for the number of participants for the area are scheduled to be required with the show of the verification insurance of the personal injury battle and harm of $1 million liability damage to property of $500,000 proof of the insurance must be verified prior to the confirmation over the space. Facilities during holidays and blackout months when the campus is closed. GMC discourage the campus facility when discourage use of campus facilities when the campus is closed during holidays. During times when the campus is closed, GMC does not have the staff to support use of the facility. Users will achieve the change charge with the director with the direct and expense for the incur with the support with the events. If the charges will include with the compensation of the overtime custodians, technicians, public safety officer for the other personnel, because utilities over the office during holidays. There will be additional charge to cover the cost of utilities. GMC will not leave the facilities during the blackout months. Blackout months include October to November to December to March, April to May without approval of the president. During these months, the GMC normally will not have resources to pay for the support external events. Approval prior to the external resolve of the request or submitted to Vice President Engineering Design with the Engineering Department to determine the facility will be able to request the support with the GMC with the request for the consider for approval of the Vice President of Engineering will coordinate with the Director of Staff. Make final determination of GMC has the ability to support. Engineering Department will work with the facility manager to determine the following available to speak with the day with the request of suitability of the event with the request located appropriate number of persons expected with the intended of the event, presence of the alcohol duration of the event, GMC supported need of the event, GMC research will be able to support request, engineering initial request of the maybe to the faculty manager for the must be coordinated with the engineering department. Shows facility and facility managers, and that was dated January 27th, 2022, and it showed the table. Alright, use of GMC information technology resources, policy statement of the Georgia Military College policy employed with the other authorized perform due with the college ensure the college information technology resources not be misused. General of the policy provide with the guideline for the acceptable ethical use of the computer for the networks related with the Georgia Military College to develop for the ensure the quality of the computing and environmental GMC for the academic for the mission of the institution, for the environmental requirement and equitable reach for the distribution computer for the network available to privacy personal privacy data integrity with achieving the goal of the requirement of everyone with the college community incorporated to adhere with the policy for the Georgia Military Quality College acquire with the develop with the maintain with the computer networks over the information technology reach of the intent with the direct and indirect support with the college instruction research service mission college administrative function with the campus life of the activity access resources whether the firm on campus the remote location privilege and the subject with the applicable law of the policy with the highest stream of the ethical behavior the particular use of any of the resources not legitimately simple because those may be technologically possible. Users might abide by the applicable restrictions imposed by those of the guidelines. In addition, student users may abide by the provisions of GMC Honor Code, Security, Georgia Military employed with the various material to protect the security of the computing resource of the user account for the data supporting all sensitive user data for the security of the protect the location transmission sensitive of the data is also encrypted to occur for the forms over the network traffic and ensure the information will not captured with the third party. The user must engage in save with the computing practice for establishing appropriate access for the restriction for the accounts for the user name and the password, safeguarding passwords, changing password regularly and properly reporting and any misuse of violation policy privacy. Users should be aware of that the use of the college and computing technology resource is not private the normal operating maintenance with the resource of the backup of the data with the communicating records, logical logging activity monitoring of the general usage pattern of the other activity necessary for the provision of the service. System and administrators his or her designee have access to all of the data information and email, file messages, file, etc. Any user, however, the access of the protected information, the control of the access of the grant of the as needed, the base of the authenticated college personnel, although Georgia Military College does not permit the casual inspection of file of the college, reserve the right of the monitor to disclose the content of the email message of the files appropriately with the circumstances, although under the Georgia Open and Record Law, that is powerful, the information stored over the computer system and included with the electronic mail would be available to inspect any members of the public. Individual responsibility. Each user of the Georgia Military Computer Information Technology Resource is expected to accept and comply with the following responsibility. Use only of the resources which he or she is authorized to use. Account with the password should be shared with or with used with a person other than those who have been assigned with the college unauthorized access to the use of their account in providing username password with another person on the ground with appropriate distinction. Georgia Military College reserve the right to suspend the misuse of the accounts identifying user computer information technology require your sources only for the intended purposes. Georgia Military College Computing and Information Technology Resource Facility with a server that is for the use of the purpose of the contingent congruent with the college educational mission. They may not use the commercial, political activity, charitable solicitation of these uses, unless expressly authorized by Chief of the Information Officer for the respect of the rights and privacy of others, for the ability to gain access to another person on the account, but it does not apply with the authorization and interference with the ability of the user for the appropriate use of the resource of the prohibited with the system and the server that may not be with the harassment, discrimination, the defame, and invade with the privacy of others. 4. Protect the integrity, security of the computer information technology reach for the access with the intent of the data of the computer resource with the deny with the security with the others. Services of the others, or they have gained privilege to access the security of the data with the compromise with integrity with the server security system as are appropriated, and use the file with attempting with the problem with the action with the subject with the maximum given penalty given in the Georgia Military College applicable prosecuted for further extent with the applicable laws. 5. Protect integrity, sensitivity, security, sensitivity, confidential data assumed with the employee with the confidentiality must not be stolen on the campus or with the home computers for the security purposes. Protected data includes but not limited to social security number, birthday, with the surrogate card number, the information protected by the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. Protecting computer networks by authenticating in the workstation, leaving the workstation unattended with all of the workstation unattended should be locked. With the finite capacity of the college computing of the network where you serve the user with respect with the respect. Finite capacity college computing network resource limited to the reasonable with the determinant office of the information technology individual using interfering with the unreasonable activity. Other colleges may require the person to limited to the refrain with the specific use. 8. Abide by the copyright laws and policies. You must abide by all applicable laws of the college policy. Copyright intellectual property to provide with copyrights and intellectual property rights for the other copyrighted works must include the text, cartoons, article, photographs, songs, software, graphics, other materials. You should be aware of the other materials available on the web protected with the copyright with a reasonable view to assume that the materials found on the web are copyrighted and the life of the materials cannot express with a disclaimer of the contrary. You must obtain permission from the creator of the publisher to copy with the use of software of the copyrighted material of the written created by other that must survive with the contract agreements controlling the installation and use of software with the other material. 9. Use of permitted provided network and computer-based services using Georgia Military College computer for the net without prior permission from the Office of the Information Technology. Examples of such services include limited file transfer protocol and web services. 10. Because access to the internet provides a connection to the other computers located all over the world, users and parents, if the user is under 18 years of age, must be understand that the Georgia Military College does not control the content and the information available on other services. Some of the information available is controversial, sometimes off-offensive. School employees and students and parents and students must be aware of the access to the internet withdrawn by the users does not respect the rights to do of others and do not follow the rules and regulations established in Georgia Military College. Use of file sharing services peer-to-peer networks strictly prohibited with the Georgia Military College network computing resource for the users who found any of the above the mentioned with the habit of the computing access suspended may be the subject of a disciplinary action. 12. When browsing the internet, users must not access material that deemed indecent, pornographic, profane, or violent. Access such material is strictly prohibited to any user found with access to the inappropriate website with a base of determination expulsion. Use of Georgia Military computing systems must use the system and ethical legal manner in accordance with the Georgia Military College policy, pursue with the usage of the system and the harassment, the defaming, and invade with the policy with the others, or to send when the receive of the possession with the material with the not allowed with the may result of the disciplinary action prosecution under the applicable federal state law statute. July 11th, 2022. Alright, policy 2008. Or use the college travel and entertainment credit cards policy statement. Georgia Military College policy on GMC faculty staff member the use of the college travel bank cards that charge official college travel expense for the bank cards will not be used to pay with the personal expense for the will not use for the purchase of the general supply equipment and service that do not require with official college travel. Approval exemption privilege you with the travel the bank cover the merchant mission essential purpose of the related to the official travel the reinstatement of the must be for the advance of the chief financial officer who's rebuilt the documentation exemption May 17, 2022 Chip Kirby CFO. Using non-travel credit cards. Policy statement: the vice president level should provide with the campus directors may not use the non-travel bank cards for the purchase of the goods and services only with a vendor with a non-issue with the college purchase order when urgent time and sensitive situation necessary. The department level, the vice president supervise with the campus director for the authorized employee with a non-travel bank card for the changing travel and or with an entertainment expense with an individual does not have access to GMC travel and entertainment bank card. Generally, the vice president legal supervise with the campus director for the regional for the request of the non-travel credit card for the chief of the financial officer responsible for the control and safeguarding returning as required an account using for the non-travel card cards by submitting all recipient receipts in a timely manner. 2010 prohibited the use of the GMC technology copyright infringement policy. Unauthorized distribution copyrighted material include authorized peer-to-peer sharing file work prohibited.